Hello friends, when I say Sri Lanka, what comes to your mind? Exotic beaches, refreshing wines, and yes, the world's famous Ceylon tea, right? But unfortunately, these lively scenarios have been replaced by a sorry figure of long queues in the food markets. And the prices of food stable that seems to be going only in one direction, and that is the sky. Sri Lanka is going through one of its worst economic crises in the last 73 years. And today we'll discuss all about Sri Lankan crisis, its causes and how its government is fighting it. Hi guys, I am Dheeraj and welcome to Wall Street Mojo, the home for most authentic place to learn finance and accounting. Let's get started. So it all started with the Sri Lankan President Rajapaksa declaring a national emergency on 30th of August in the year of 2020.
Now, Sri Lankan President Gotabaya Rajapaksa declared a state of emergency over food shortages as banks run out of foreign exchange to finance imports.
And the explanation given was that the emergency was necessary to curb the rising food prices and to stop the hoarding of food items by the food mafia. However, as we all know, how government gives away details that are only tip of the iceberg, right? The real reasons behind these emergencies was that the Sri Lankan currency was at an all-time low and their foreign reserves were depleting very fast. And when a country empowers the military to prevent hoarding and control the supply of essential goods in the name of national emergency, then it does not require much intelligence to say that the country's economy is in serious trouble. Okay, so what exactly is this economic problem faced by Sri Lanka? The key problem with the Sri Lankan economy is that it is quickly running out of its foreign reserves. Yes, the thing that we know as gold, dollar and other dollar-like assets.
Importers told Al Jazeera that around 1,700 containers of food items have been stuck in port because the foreign currency to pay for them isn't available.
Their forex reserves have dropped from 7.5 billion in 2019 to around only 2.8 billion in July of 2021. And all this when the country still owes the foreign debt of around $4 billion. Now, you might say that these are just numbers, but what a low forex reserve does is that it stops a country from importing its goods as freely as it used to do earlier. And this is exactly what Sri Lanka did. During the end of 2020, it stopped the imports of vehicles and other crucial items like the edible oil, turmeric and even toothbrushes so that they can save precious foreign exchange. Another big blow that the low foreign reserves and low imports gave to the Sri Lankan economy was that it slowly began to devalue the Sri Lankan currency. So what this means is that with the supply of foreign exchange drying up, the amount of money that the Sri Lankans have had to dish out to purchase the foreign exchange that is necessary to import the goods had slowly started to go up. And the value of Sri Lankan rupee has gone down by 8% by the end of 2021. Another side to the problem is that in the last 18 months or so, the Sri Lankan Central Bank has infused almost 800 billion Sri Lankan rupees in cash in order to solve the problem of cash crunch. Now, although this move has increased the cash flows, right? The problem is that while the demand to purchase is high, the supply of commodities is nowhere close to it. And we all know what happens in such a situation. A heavy inflation, right? It's like a vicious cycle where one bad thing follows another one. Now, looking at all these data and numbers, you must be thinking how on earth such a crisis came about. There are two main reasons that caused this crisis. Let's have a look at them. First is you must understand that Sri Lanka is an economy that is heavily reliant on travel and tourism and other agricultural products such as tea. In fact, tourism contributes more than 10% to its GDP. And when the pandemic fell, the tourists that loved sitting on the beaches of Sri Lanka were nowhere to be seen. and the tourism industry took a heavy beating and shrank big time. According to the data from Trading Economics, while Sri Lanka earned a revenue of 455 million a month during the pre-pandemic days, it went down to a very sorry figure of just 3 million in July of 2021. However, that was not the only cause of this crisis. Another reason was that while the country was going through its economic crisis, the Sri Lankan government took a very strange decision to ban all the chemical fertilizers. Why? They wanted to promote 100% organic farming. Unfortunately, the timing wasn't perfect. Now, this move not only hurt the tea plantations and the farmers, but it also had a huge impact on the services and the financial sectors that were helping the tea industry and tea exports. And since we all know that tea exports form a majority of Sri Lanka's dollar earnings, the foreign exchange reserves took a hit once again. And what happened next? The world's famous tea industry started to collapse. And soon, the Sri Lankan economy found itself in a serious economic crisis. Even with so much mess on the table, the Sri Lankan government has not yet given hopes on the economic revival. They have already started to act in that direction by taking measures such as, empowering the army to seize supplies from the traders and distributing them to the consumers at a fair price. Another thing that they did were the currency swap deals with China and India that were worth 1.5 billion and 400 million that will allow it to temporarily take care of its foreign exchange crisis. And finally, banning the imports of crucial items such as automobile spare parts and turmeric in order to save its foreign reserves. Now, as optimistic as these measures may sound to you, there are some experts who feel that these measures are sure to harm the country's economy in the long run. For example, capping of food prices may lead to a severe shortages as the rate is fixed by the government. And why is that? Because at a lower rate fixed by the government, the demand of commodities by far exceeds their supply. And that's why you can see those images of people queuing up in huge numbers in the food markets. Now, whether these criticisms by experts come true or the Sri Lankan government measures help the country to come out of its crisis, only the time will tell. But for now, one thing is for sure, that the Sri Lankan economy is sinking and it will hold on to even a straw to save itself. And with that, it's me Dheeraj signing off for today. Hope you liked the video, and if you did, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and vote thumbs up.